Hi everyone, it's Keira and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to have a sit down and talk about Pierre Gasly and the reasons why he is not being talked about. Now I am going to sit here with my non-biased hat on. Okay guys, I know I'm a Pierre Gasly super fan, we all know that by now, but I am going to be sitting here and I'm actually going to be talking facts. Okay, I'm going to be talking the current situation. I'm not being biased. So before I get into the video, if you do enjoy it, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel down below. But I think we should just get into talking about Pierre Gasly and why nobody is talking about him this season. Pierre Gasly is arguably the best performing driver in 2021. So why is he not being spoken about? Why are there other drivers taking the limelight? Why are there other things just coming out in the headlines? Why is he just not making it anywhere in the media or in anyone's mouth? Pierre is not only dominating his inter-team battle, but he is also really in there, the top battles with the midfield. Of the 14 races we have run in this season, Pierre has qualified in the top 6 in 11 of them. And I think he had like a streak of like 4 or 5 where he qualified P6 and it was just like P6, P6, P6. Like, what? Is that normal? Has anyone else done? Like, I just like, can't believe he's done that. Like, when I saw that stat, I was like, how are you so consistent? Like, it's incredible. And out of them 14 races, 10 of them ended up in the points and 2 of them were retirements and then 2 of them were out of the points. Like, how good is that? How good is that? Now, all year he has been in a battle with Daniel Ricciardo for P8 in this championship, and up until last weekend, they were pretty much even, and Pierre was arguably dragging ahead of Daniel Ricciardo, which you wouldn't expect from an AlphaTauri to a McLaren. However, Daniel got that amazing win in Monza, which meant that he has actually gone quite a bit ahead of Pierre in the championship. Pierre Gasly has now got 17 points to claw back by the end of the season to get this P8 from Daniel Ricciardo, but I honestly feel like this might happen. Like, you don't know how Ricciardo's going to be, you don't know how anybody in front of him might do, you don't know how the Ferraris are going to go. So unfortunately he was really like hyped for this battle for P8, but I don't know now that Daniel's had this win whether it's going to be too far out of reach. But next I feel like we need to talk about the car. Is he overperforming in this AlphaTauri or is Yuki Tsunoda underperforming? You know, and I think a lot of people have to remember this car is a Toro Rosso. I know it's had the rebrand, I know everybody looks different, I know it's got a new name, but at the end of the day it's still a Toro Rosso. Pierre is one of the few drivers this year who has a clean sweep in qualifying with 14-0 against Yuki Tsunoda, and most weekends Pierre Gasly is a regular in Q3 whereas Yuki Tsunoda is out in Q1 most weekends. So there's such a big difference in their one lap pace that Yuki can't get that car anywhere higher than the Williams and the Alfa Romeos, but Pierre can get it up higher than the Ferraris most of the time. And Pierre Gasly is never somebody that just gets into Q3 and qualifies like 9th or 10th. As I said with his qualifying record earlier, he's always in that top 6. He's normally like 6th, 5th, you know, places like that. He's not just in it for the sake of it. Like, he actually battles in Q3. And following on from that, the racing record between them two are pretty much similar as well. Pierre has scored 10 races and Yuki Tsunoda has scored 3 over Pierre. And, you know, in these races, Pierre Gasly is, as I said earlier, fighting up there with the McLarens, with the Ferraris, even with the Top Guns when they're down a little bit. And Yuki is just like running like P16 or something. Like, I don't get how they're so different. Obviously, we have got to take into account that it is Yuki Tsunoda's first year and he is a rookie. But I think I'm more so looking at like the performance that Pierre can get out of this car, because I think normally if you see the difference between a rookie and somebody more experienced, it's not this much. Like, it's not this much. So I'm inclined to think that Pierre Gasly is just overperforming in this AlphaTauri, but we've got the same lineup for next year, so we're not really going to know whether this is actually the case or not, because we haven't got somebody else to step in to kind of balance it out. But I would say he's overperforming in this car, definitely. But why is it that nobody's talking about him? He's pulling off all these amazing performances week in, week out. You know, he's making amazing moves and he's been so clean. Like, I can't remember the last time Pierre Gasly actually had an incident. Like, he is just a clean driver. He doesn't get in anyone's way. He doesn't tangle. He's not that driver. But I don't know why people aren't talking about him. It could be the fact that this year we do have a proper championship battle on our hands. We've got Lewis and Max, and that rivalry is very hot, especially with the accidents they've had going wheel to wheel at Silverstone and also Monza. So that has obviously taken a lot of the limelight away from the situation, and every weekend we've got the championship kind of swinging to Lewis, swinging to Max, slightly swinging this way, Perez, Bottas, what are you two doing? So I feel like maybe the mid-pack is kind of getting lost a little bit. And I think another thing is we're looking at this Ferrari and McLaren battle a lot. So we're looking at Daniel, we're looking at Lando, we're looking at Carlos, we're looking at Charles. So they're the people we're looking at for this battle. However, because Yuki is further down, AlphaTauri aren't in that battle, but Pierre is in that battle. So I think that's another thing, is people are looking, oh my God, is it going to be McLaren? Is it going to be Ferrari? But Pierre Gasly's in there too. But because obviously he's not going with his whole team, it's kind of why he probably isn't really being spoken about, because no one's really thinking that he's in that battle when he is on track. And as much as Pierre didn't like to admit it, and he was still wanting to go back up to Red Bull, I think have pretty much made it clear this whole year that they weren't going to re-sign Pierre. Every time Christian Horner or Helmut Marko got asked whether Pierre was going to come back up, they pretty much said no. I knew, you know, from word go that that wasn't an option for next year for Pierre. Obviously, he's obviously going to keep his hopes up. But I think because Red Bull were quite sure on Checo and they re-signed him recently, I think that's another thing where Pierre's future, obviously he did sign for AlphaTauri, but before that I think his future was kind of sold. Like, there was no place in McLaren for him, there's no place in Aston Martin for him. So I think because he wasn't involved in silly season, it adds to another factor as to why he's not really being looked at. Like, obviously George Russell was being looked at more, his performances on track were being looked at a lot more because he could have picked up this Mercedes seat, which he obviously did. And I just feel like because of that, and because Pierre was kind of secure in that AlphaTauri and there were no talks with Red Bull for him moving up again, there's just been nothing. Like, they've just let him get on and there's been no media attention and there's just been nothing on him. And another thing which I feel like is really the reason why he's not being picked up on is because of his consistency. And I know that sounds weird, but take Clement Novalak, who is in F3 and he's currently P3 in the championship, just underneath Dennis Hauger and Jack Doohan, who are fighting for this championship. Granted, Dennis is a little bit higher up, but you know, that is the fight for the championship. But Clement Novalak has creeped his way up to P3 purely because he is consistent. He's consistent in the points. I think he's only had like 3 podiums, I want to say, this year. Like, he's not been all the way up there, considering they have 3 races per weekend. Like, he's not had loads. But because of his consistency, he's creeped himself up to P3. And I think people aren't picking up on Clem because nobody's seeing it and it's going under the radar. And I feel like this is the same situation with Pierre Gasly. You know, he's creeping his way up there, he's doing what he needs to do, he's outperforming McLarens, he's outperforming Ferraris, but because he's just staying consistent, as I said with those 666 in the, you know, in the qualifying. Oh God, is 666 a devil number? I didn't mean to say that. Oh no. Because of that, I feel like, you know, they say consistency is key, and George Russell definitely says consistency is key. That, you know, because of that, there's nothing really to pick up on because he's just been consistent. There's been nothing like wow. He's not been on a podium. Sorry. The wow just remind me of when Yuki said wow about what noise does the dog make?
What noise do they make?
Wow. Yes, it's normal. Wow.
Sorry, I'm getting really distracted now. It's come to the end of this video. But yeah, I just feel like because he's been so consistent, there is nothing overly to talk about apart from the fact he's being consistent. So to conclude this video, I think that we all need to be talking about Pierre Gasly a little bit more, and we need to be talking about these performances he's doing in this AlphaTauri because they are really, really good and nobody seems to really care. And I think we need to start picking up on this, and I think he needs to get more attention for this, and I think other teams need to be looking at him, and I really hope they are. I'm not talking about Red Bull, I'm talking about Aston Martin, I'm talking about Alpine, I am talking about McLaren, I'm talking about even Ferrari. Like, these other teams, these other kind of higher up midfield teams need to look at Pierre Gasly because the consistency, the clean driving, the power, the 1 lap pace, the whole race pace is incredible from this man. And he is just a star of tomorrow, but he could be one that gets slipped away from if nobody picks up on him and realises what he is doing. So there you have it. That is it for today's video, and those are the reasons why I believe Pierre Gasly should be being talked about, but also the reasons why he's not being talked about. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about Pierre Gasly's season this year. I would love to hear your opinions, and let me know why you think he's just not being talked about. Do you think it's some of the reasons I said? Do you think it's something else? I would love to hear. But again, like this video, subscribe to my channel if you like this type of content. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, I will see you again soon for a brand new video. Bye.